It's unbelievable how a single sentence can shatter a 2-year relationship in an instant. I never saw it coming until the words left her mouth. We were sitting on the couch that night, some random show flickering on the TV that neither of us was actually watching. I'd asked an innocent question. How was dinner with Liam? Liam, her ex. For the past 6 months, she'd been meeting him roughly once a month for what she called closure coffee, or just catching up. Every single time I'd forced myself to stay quiet and swallow the unease. But this time she came home wearing a very specific cologne, the same one I'd noticed on her coat a few weeks earlier and pretended not to recognize. I just wanted honesty. She turned to me, a tiny smirk tugging at the corner of her mouth, and actually chuckled. "It's cute how jealous you get when I see my ex," she said, her tone thick with mockery. "Maybe that probably means you're not really boyfriend material." I didn't say a word. I just stared at the blank wall over her shoulder while those words hung in the air. She clearly expected me to explode, beg, or at least give her some kind of dramatic reaction. When I gave her nothing, she let out an annoyed huff, got up, marched to the bedroom, and slammed the door. I stayed on the couch. I didn't chase her. I didn't raise my voice. I simply replayed that sentence over and over in my head. Not really boyfriend material. It wasn't an insult in that moment. It was a diagnosis. And I decided she was 100% correct. I was not the right boyfriend. For her, at least. So I was finished. The next morning, she'd already left for work before I woke up, probably assuming I'd spend the day spiraling and then come groveling with apologies for being insecure. I did no such thing. Instead, I drove to the storage place, grabbed 12 large moving boxes, and spent the entire day calmly packing every single item that belonged to her. Clothes, cosmetics, books, the endless little knickknacks she'd sprinkled around our apartment, everything. I was meticulous. I wrapped her favorite mugs in layers of newspaper, placed her jewelry in a padded pouch, folded every sweater like it was going to a boutique. I didn't smash, discard, or pocket a single thing. By 4 in the afternoon, 12 neatly taped boxes stood in a perfect row by the front door. The final touch was the most satisfying. I'd found Liam's current address on an old Christmas card she'd left in a kitchen drawer months ago. I booked a same-day premium courier online, $2, 27.50. Confirmation email landed at 4:15 p.m. with tracking number 8814 B7992C. I printed the receipt, placed it in the center of the now bare coffee table, and ordered myself a pizza while I waited for the show to begin. The first call came at 7:03 p.m. I let it ring out. The voicemail was pure panic. "Where's all my stuff? What have you done? This isn't funny. Call me back right now." 5 more calls followed in the next 8 minutes. I ignored everyone. Then the texts started, confusion turning to fury, turning to threats. I read them all in complete silence, like watching lightning through double-glazed windows. The real entertainment arrived the following day. Unknown number. I answered, hit record, and put it on speaker. It wasn't her. It was her mother. Straight in, no greeting. "I don't know what kind of twisted game you think you're playing, but you cannot just put Rebecca on the street like trash. She has rights. She lives there. You have to let her in to collect her belongings." I waited until she ran out of steam. "Good morning, Karen," I said pleasantly. "All of Rebecca's possessions have already been delivered to her new address. I suggest she checks with Liam." Long pause. "What does that have to do with anything?" she barked. "Everything," I replied. "Because Rebecca is not, and has never been, on the lease for apartment 4B. She has always been a guest, my guest, and that invitation has now expired." This was the cornerstone I'd unknowingly built 2 years earlier. When we moved in together, her credit was poor after a rough patch, so we agreed I would sign the lease alone and she'd just Venmo me her half of the expenses each month. At the time it felt protective. Now it was bulletproof armor. Karen sputtered. "That's absurd. She paid rent." "No," I corrected gently. "She transferred money to me. Actual rent and utilities have always been paid exclusively from my account. I have 2 years of bank statements if anyone needs them." I could hear her practically hissing through the phone. "You'll be hearing from our lawyer," she snapped and hung up. 11 minutes later, I sent a polite email to my landlord, Mr. Henderson, a man who treats lease agreements the way priests treat scripture. Subject: Guest departure notification, apt 4B. Body: Dear Mr. Henderson, please be advised that my long-term guest, Ms. Rebecca Martin, permanently vacated the premises on September 10th. I remain the sole tenant. Happy to provide any further documentation required. Regards, my name. Reply came 43 minutes later. Noted. File updated. H. Screenshot saved. Evidence folder growing nicely. For 2 days, nothing. Blissful radio silence. I dared to hope the lawyer threat was empty. Then the campaign moved to our mutual friends. We had one main group. 2 other couples, Mark and Sarah, Ben and Emily, who'd known us for years. Thursday evening Sarah texted, "Hey, can I call? Something's happened." She sounded awkward. "Look, I hate being in the middle, but Rebecca has been saying some really extreme things in the group chat. She's telling everyone you completely lost it, screamed at her for hours, threw her out with nothing but the clothes on her back because you're jealous and controlling." Cold weight in my gut. Not enough to leave quietly. She had to nuke my reputation on the way out. "Sarah, do you believe her?" Long pause. "It doesn't sound like you, but she's being very convincing. She says you were tracking her phone, threatening her." Classic smear. I asked for screenshots. She sent them within a minute. 5 images from the gang WhatsApp. Rebecca had posted an Oscar-worthy performance. Crying emojis, claims I'd raged all night, that I'd probably burned her stuff, that all her childhood photos were gone forever. Ben and Emily were lapping it up with heart reacts and "we're here for you" messages. Mark stayed mostly silent. The worst lie, that I screamed at her for hours. My entire strategy had been built on the fact I never raised my voice once. I didn't dignify the group chat with a reply. Instead, I sent one private message to Mark and Sarah, the 2 I trusted most. "Hey both, I'm not going to turn the group chat into a courtroom, but as our oldest friends I want you to have the facts." Attached. Screenshot of Rebecca texting me last month saying she was with Sarah when she was actually with Liam. "Sarah, you'll remember you were in Barcelona that week." Courier receipt. $2 $27.50 to professionally deliver 12 carefully packed boxes to Liam's address. The text she sent the night before everything ended when I gently said I felt weird about the constant ex meetups. "Stop being so insecure. It's not attractive. If you can't handle it, that's your problem." I ended with, "I never screamed. I never threatened. I simply accepted her verdict that I wasn't boyfriend material and helped her move in with the man she clearly preferred." Sent. Phone off for the night. Next morning Mark replied, "Jesus. We had no idea. We're so sorry we even doubted you for a second. We're staying neutral publicly, but we've got your back 100%. Ben and Emily never texted. The friend group cracked exactly in half, exactly as I predicted. Rebecca had overplayed a royal flush and still managed to lose. A week of peace followed. I rearranged the furniture, bought a new rug, threw out every lavender candle in the place, and the apartment finally felt like mine again. Then came the final, boldest maneuver. Tuesday afternoon, unknown number. Karen again, voice dripping with saccharin. "Hi, sweetheart. I know things are tense, but we have a serious problem." In all the upset, Rebecca only just realized she left her great-grandmother's pearl necklace behind. Family heirloom. Priceless. Devastating for her. She thinks it slipped behind the dresser. Could we possibly pop by for 5 minutes? With me as chaperone, of course, just to check. Translation. Get a foot back in the door, refuse to leave, claim residency, lawyer hell. I kept my tone neutral. "That does sound serious. Let me help. I have a security camera covering the front door, installed after a stolen package. I'll review the morning she left and see if she was wearing it. I'll call you back in an hour." Dead silence. You could hear the trap snap shut from the other end of the line. "Oh, a camera. Right. Well, yes, do that," she stammered. I pulled up the archive. Timestamp 8:12 a.m., September 10th. Rebecca walks out in her black blouse, pauses to check her bag, and there, impossible to miss, is the exact pearl necklace gleaming against the fabric. I clipped the 15-second clip, zoomed in for a frame, and emailed it to Karen. Subject: found it. Body: good news, the necklace didn't get left behind after all. See attached video, 8:12 a.m., September 10th. Sent. No reply. Ever. Not a peep from mother or daughter again. Checkmate with time-stamped video evidence that they tried to run a calculated con and got caught in 4K. Total humiliation, zero room for spin. One final epilogue arrived a month later. Unknown number. "Hey man, this is Liam. You sent a small mountain of boxes to my house a while back. Just wanted to say thank you. She turned up that night hysterical, tried to move herself into my spare room. Took me 2 weeks to evict her. You didn't just dump stuff on me. You saved me. Dodged a ballistic missile, brother. Cheers. I texted back. Sorry you got caught in the blast radius. Glad you're clear now. His last message, all good. Blocked her on everything. Realized I needed way more therapy than I thought after we originally split. Your surprise delivery was the most expensive wake-up call of my life. Respect. I blocked Rebecca, blocked Karen, poured a whiskey, and sat in the first completely peaceful silence my apartment had known in years. The storm was over. Every lie exposed, every bridge burned to the waterline, every attempt to manipulate or punish me neutralized, not with shouting or drama, but with receipts, timestamps, and the quiet, relentless power of simply telling the truth. And that, finally, was that.